Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with another edition of my Crazy Fives, episode 17. I think this is. It's Sunday. Normally these things hit right at midnight, so my apologies. But with the 31 days of horror, I've just been fighting to keep up. I think the only thing I got out ahead of myself is my X-Files episodes. But everything else I have sort of caught up with me. And so now I'm just sort of playing that game. Once October is done, hopefully I can get things back out front in such a way that I won't be worrying about it as much. But here it is today. I didn't want to skip it. So here in the midst of the late morning, Sunday, I'll probably have this drop later on this afternoon. I think the next two editions of Crazy Fives are going to be somewhat special. Today is somewhat inspired by Larry D's Chili Head Aquatics, who recently was made aware of my channel via Jason over at Horrific Nightmares, our Tuesday reviewer at BodyBags. And my thanks again to Jason for sending people my way. I appreciate it. And thanks again for Larry D's for inspiring this episode of Crazy Fives. It was day 13, Prince of Darkness, on my 31 Days of Horror, and he's mentioned In the Mouth of Madness. I wasn't sure what I thought I knew what I was going to do for Crazy Fives. I had an idea, but I'm going to keep it on the back burner because that really needs a little bit more work I need to do with it. But this one seemed pretty straightforward and easy, and so I figured, why not just focus in on some John Carpenter? It is October and Halloween is coming, and so I figured today and then the next Crazy Fives I may actually devote to my favorite Halloween films. And man, that is going to be tough, narrowing all down into 5 with, of course, an outside looking in. And generally when we do this, of course, my outside looking in is up there on the screen. Well, that particular film doesn't have any sound with its menu screen, and so this is not in my Crazy Fives, and I have a reason for that. It's because of another one that maybe might not have been in my Crazy Fives, but since I already covered this on my 31 Days of Horror anyways, I figured I would just let it be my set screen, my menu screen, whatever, get some sound going, some good John Carpenter, Alan Howarth vibes going here as we launch into a John Carpenter, I think I'm calling it, those Indispensable Carpenter Flicks. So why don't we just start with the one that inspired this whole thing, from Larry D's Chili Head. John Carpenter's from let's see here, 1994. First put on VHS by New Line Home Video. The best part about this one today is every one of them has a VHS release, and this one was New Line. In the Mouth of Madness, 1994. This has a lot of reasons to point towards people. I know the mid 90s wasn't really known for. Scream will come in, but the 90s generally aren't known for being a horror decade, not like the 80s or other decades, right? But this is the capstone of John Carpenter's apocalyptic trilogy, the third piece. There being The Thing, there being The Prince of Darkness, and since, so it kind of makes sense that they're all up here, but this is a trilogy that I never really thought. Two trilogies in the latter part of my life have taken up way much more room in my life, or in terms of my attention and my love, my admiration. First of all, the Gates of Hell trilogy, Lucio Fulci, is just, it is the loosely connected trilogy of all, mother of all trilogies. But the apocalyptic trilogy, the Apocalypse trilogy by John Carpenter, is one that has really taken much more notice by me. Sometimes I often wonder if They Live ought not be considered part of this, because that really kind of has an apocalyptic doom vibe, although there is seemingly hope. I guess that's the thing. Hope is really, it is, his apocalyptic trilogy is really nihilistic at its core. The sense that there is any hope is elusive, I guess. This one is, and I'm surprised. I just read today, Roger Ebert's, and I guess I ought to, pick up the pace here a little bit. I'm sorry if this one runs long, but I did want to talk about this real quick, since I was asked, and then I'll run through the others real quick. The Indispensable Carpenter Flicks. Roger Ebert gave it a pretty decent review. I always like to see what he says. But he completely missed the whole H.P. Lovecraft connection. He mentioned Stephen King, but really this is a Lovecraftian, apocalyptic sort of doom and gloom, which really needs to be revisited, reseen, rediscovered by John Carpenter enthusiasts, or maybe not enthusiasts alike, but basically, you got, what in here? You got Sam Neill, Jürgen Prochnow, David Warner, Peter Jason, Charlton Heston, a very young Hayden Christensen cameo, not really a cameo, but a Hayden Christensen part towards the end, plays a young paperboy. And really, this is Lovecraft at its core, and in Jürgen Prochnow, who plays our antagonist, Sutter Kane, who is a writer who has basically gone rogue. No one knows where he is, and so Sam Neill's character, he is a fraud investigator, and so the book company that owns Sutter Kane and his works, the next installment of his of the Sutter Kane series, he has basically taken the book and fled, or the ideas for the book and fled, and no one knows where he's at, and so they want to basically ring him back in, right? And so they send, they pay Sam Neill to go out there and look for him, in which him and a representative of the book company goes out, and that begins a very Lovecraftian, sort of nightmarish, effects-driven K&B, by the way. Who doesn't love K&B, man? All the way till they find this town of Hobbs End, in which case it is the source of all evil, sort of like Lovecraft's The Color Out of Space, right? And the evil is going to begin to spread outward. But what pushes the evil are Sutter Kane's books, which sort of have this mind-bending effect on people. It drives people mad. There's a great opening scene in the movie where Sam Neill's having this conversation with somebody in a sort of a cafe or whatever, and this guy seemingly peacefully walks across the street with an axe and just breaks through the windows and nearly axes him up before he's shot to death by police. But that happens to have been Jurgen's or Sutter Kane's, what do you call it, his agent or whatever, right? And so we find out exactly why he targeted Sam Neill later on in the film. But Sam Neill is targeted by Sutter Kane and his ever-growing sense of otherworldliness, his evil, and the evil, this sort of Lovecraftian cosmic doom that he's about to unleash on the world once In the Mouth of Madness is released or unleashed on the people via the book and the film. We find out which one of the greatest endings to a Carpenter film is when Sam Neill's character is in a movie theater at the end watching basically a replay of everything he's just been through, and he just goes insane. And it's a great moment, man, in Carpenter films. And so, really that is what it is at its core. Some great imagery working, some great cinematography. It really is one of those movies that I'll be honest, I never sat there and thought it through until I revisited a few nights ago, and I don't know, it just hit me. Lately it's been The Prince of Darkness that has hit me, that I've really rediscovered it and have just fallen in love with. But this one hit me, and look at this, I'm still running with the snapper case. I really need to upgrade this. I really need the Apocalypse trilogy. Yeah. So anyways, Larry D's Chili Head. Just a few thoughts. This one's going to run pretty, I don't know. I need to just run here. But this is one that really needs to be, as a film itself, the score is amazing. The Canby effects, just the Lovecraftian sense of just the world is about to come to an end. The atmosphere, some of the imagery, Sam Neill's character in an asylum painting or drawing crosses all over it's just, it's never ending, man. It's fastly paced and never, I don't know. I wish Roger Ebert would have, I can't believe he missed the Lovecraft. I just, so much of you got Pickman's Motel, and you just got, it's just so much of Lovecraft in here that is a nod to other stories of Lovecraft. And in fact, one could argue, I guess, Sutter Kane is sort of Lovecraft, right? So, I don't know, maybe a word or two at the end, but Outside Looking In from 1994, In the Mouth of Madness. So there you go, Larry D's Chili Head Aquatics. Number 5, from 1988, first released by MCA Universal. There's a few like that. Dude, indispensable, man. They Live. I think this is a Scream. Yeah, Scream Factory release Blue. Beautiful, man. This movie is so much freaking fun. How can it not be in your collection, man? They freaking live, man. Another sort of apocalyptic alien invasion, doom and gloom. Subliminal messages abound. And in terms of why we ought to be suspect of our governing, ruling authorities, maybe now more than ever. This film is as relevant today as it was when John made it, in light of the world of Reagan and everything else. I actually think it's more relevant today to us. Number 5, They Live from 1988. Number 4, the greatest John Carpenter film ever. 1982, first released by MCA Universal, and I'm going to showcase. I have this thing on more releases, excuse me, than I know what to do with. But here is my widescreen edition of my VHS tape. The Thing, right, man? Part of the Apocalypse trilogy. Just I've seen this on the big screen. It's like I said, from Scream Factory to Arrow to the Universal releases. Just an absolutely fantastic through and through. It is on my top 5 greatest films of all time. Really, it is number 1. It does share 1 with Jaws. They're sort of interchangeable at 1 and 2, depending on my mood. But this is what I consider one of the greatest movies ever from John Carpenter. Indispensable. The practicals, maybe the pinnacle of practical effects of its time, and even right up through today. Number 3. This one never really gets talked about, and I don't understand why. From 1981, first released on Columbia/TriStar Home Video. Back when DVDs got outstanding releases, man. This might bring back some memories. John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Look at this real quick. I just got to show you this real quick, real fast, and then we're going to move. Look at this crap, man. Look at this, look at this, look at this. You just don't get DVDs like this anymore. It's so freaking awesome, man. So freaking awesome. Anyway, I'll leave it down there. No, I won't leave it down there. Escape from New York, man. This movie, man, Donald Pleasance playing the presidents. Plane goes down to New York City. New York City's become a prison. And Kurt Russell, the ex-vet who gets called in by none other than... why can't I think of his name? John Carradine. Right, John Carradine. I'm sorry, Lee Van Cleef. Lee Van Cleef. Holy crap! I'm glad I looked. Ernest Borgnine's in this bad boy. Isaac Hayes. Harry Dean Stanton. Such a great freaking movie, man. Such a great freaking movie. I really do need a 4K release of this thing, and I got four Carpenter flicks on 4K. This really needs to be one of them. This is just absolute classic John Carpenter. Absolute classic John Carpenter. Number 2, it is, if there is one that is just comfort food with me, aside from The Thing, it is this one. 1980. First was released by Embassy on Home Video, which I have on my shelf back there somewhere. But this is the 4K release by Studio Canal. I don't know how I didn't know that. I know that. But what an absolute phenomenal release. The sound is so freaking awesome on this movie, man, on this release. The picture quality as well, Lord. Lord, why did I say Lord? Oh, Lord, it is something else. What is it, the line from the thing when McCready's like, tell you what, just trust in the Lord. There you go. Lock your doors, bolt your windows. There's something in. Or the TV spot, I think, was, what the hell is out there? The Fog. This is such a great... The Fog, in terms of Carpenter, to me, The Fog, to me, is a lot like Dario Argento's Phenomena is to me, in a very similar way. But ancient, old ghost story of a leper colony that is tricked, sent to their doom on their ship, and 100 years later, visit Antonio Bay to wreak some havoc. This is a great, great, great film by John Carpenter. Absolutely indispensable. Of course, you know, and there is a lot more to John Carpenter than just what's in my crazy fives here and up there, right? But, and it just so happens, remember, I run things chronologically, but I may not next week when I pick my favorite. I don't know. I may or may not. I may actually do a real top 5, I think. May put some thought into that. But at number 1, first released by Media Entertainment on VHS, the one, the only, the classic Halloween. And there is my ticket from when I saw this on the big screen, anniversary run, the night he came home. Just watched this the other night as part of my 31 days of horror. It will be part of my 31 days of horror. So I was revisiting this last night, as well as much of the franchise that will play a pretty big role in my as I get to the end of the 31 days. But what can you say? I'm 53, so this has been with me most of my entire life. I remember when this thing made the cover of the HBO book, and I was literally spellbound by what was the shape underneath the sheet in the doorway. Absolutely spellbound by that. So didn't quite run as long as I thought it would be, thankfully. But In the Mouth of Madness, a few words about that for Larry D's. So there you go. Jason, again, thanks for sending him, and I'm sure you've sent some others my way. I appreciate it. Much appreciation to you guys. Real quick again, the indispensable John Carpenter filmography that ought to really be in your collection on some format, be it VHS all the way up to 4K, right? Halloween, absolutely. The Fog, absolutely. Escape from New York, absolutely. The Thing, do I really need to say absolutely? They Live? Yeah, it needs to be in your collection. In the Mouth of Madness? Look, what is a John Carpenter collection if you don't have his Apocalypse trilogy? Makes no sense. I mean, try to think of a few off the top of my head. Vampires, that's in my collection. The Ward is in my collection. Assault on Precinct 13th, classic. I really need an upgrade on that one, but that's DVD in my collection. Trying to think. I don't know if you know what I want? I want Elvis, man. Kurt Russell, man. I want Elvis. I've always wanted that and just never thought to get it. And I really need to think about that one and get that one at some point. And there's others, I'm sure. Christine is another one, right? John Carpenter's Christine. And thank God, John and Cody, contributed to the score of, or not really, they reworked the Halloween score for David Gordon Green's trilogy, right? Which was, to me, the best part of the entire trilogy as a whole, was just seeing those two work out that score. But John Carpenter, man. And then, of course, you have, golly, what's the name of that movie? I'm gonna wrap this up here real fast, guys. I'm just trying to think of that movie. What the heck is that movie? Oh, I have something covering it. Dang it. It's the nod. It's the shoot. Oh, it's that movie that just came out by what's his name? That's a real heavy nod, especially in the score. Um, oh, what the veterans places where veterans hang out at the post 51, post 54. Um, the you guys know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking. You know what? I never do this. I never do this, but I'm doing it right now. Um, yeah, I feel like an idiot now. VFW, man, what an incredible nod to John Carpenter and his filmography. And I can't believe I forgot his Joe Bagos. Right, I got like five movies of his, I think, in my four or five of his movies in my collection. Almost Human is so freaking awesome. But yeah, Stephen Lang and William Sadler, Fred Williamson. This is a fantastic homage to John Carpenter, man. If this is not in your collection and you love John Carpenter, it ought to be. So I know this one's running later or much late. I apologize. Thank you for your support. Thank you for contributing, just commenting, subs, liking. All of this helps in the end, and it's much appreciated. I'm sorry this runs nearly 22 minutes, but it is what it is, right? So it is what it is. Happy October. Happy Halloween is coming. My next one is probably Halloween Films, Crazy 5’s. And I think my next Italy's Holocaust is going to be Demons 2. That seems to be Halloween appropriate, right? As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream. We might be useful to